Hey guys, D1 Week 3 recap. I promise this is not going to be very long, not like the usual ones. Just going to quickly run through the matchups. So Organized Chaos, big, well not really big, by 8 over Bean Snapped, thanks in a large part to Reggie Bush and Deshaun Jackson. He did play Arian Foster. Didn't have any other option because of the Thursday night game. That sucks for you, but you did hold on to the win. Kelvin Benjamin continues to look fantastic for Being Snapped, for Jibo, not Febo, for Ivan. And actually had decent games from all three of his wide receivers. I mean, decent like 9 and 11. So, but yeah, Organized Chaos over Being Snapped. The next matchup that we will do, that was the Kia Sorrento matchup of the week. We'll go to the battle of the winless teams, and they're still winless. I called it a little early last night because, in theory, Jets could have tied up the game. Bennett could have gotten a catch in overtime and possibly fumbled it. But Cecil C. Shorts and Borkham's Ballbusters, the alliteration teams, two of the alliteration teams, tied 148-148. Matt Ryan with a big game again against my Buccaneers. That was just a horrible game to watch. DeMarco, is he the number one running back right now in the league? And the aforementioned Bennett with 22 points, which I believe led all tight ends this week. Not positive on that, or at least all active tight ends. B Cubed countered with a solid running attack, 50 points between Marshawn and Rashad Jennings. Yeah, and both teams well over projections. At least 20 points over projections for both of them, but they did tie 148-148, so neither one of them still have a win. So magically, Wrightsman is 2.5 games up in his own division, which is almost impossible. The only way that this can happen is if his two division mates lose both of their games and then they tie in the match between themselves. So Wrightsma running away with this division. We'll call this a segue. So Wrightsma, huge over Masonites. I think we made this our Stone Cold Lead Pipe lock of the week. Not really a solid game all the way around. Eddie Lacy and LaShawn McCoy, two of the top 4 running backs in the league, or top 5. Only 4 points between them. All of the first round draft picks in traditional leagues are sucking this year. Jamal Charles injured and wasn't good when he was in. Matt Forte is struggling. LaShawn McCoy getting outrun by Darren Sproles like by a ton. Eddie Lacy sucks. Adrian Peterson, we don't even really need to dig into that, is a lost cause. So none of the big time running backs have really stepped up their game. So DeMarco, Giovanni Bernard are probably the top guys. Even Rashad Jennings, am I going to throw him up there, at least up until this point? I don't think that will continue, so don't send me any trade requests on D2 Mike. I'm not that interested in him. But yeah, just not solid production from the stud running back so far. Wrights did have huge games though from Antonio Brown. And that's really it. So he did underperform, 125 points, nothing spectacular, but he played against Doug. Doug laid an absolute dud. Only 2 guys with more than 10 points, one of them being Tony Romo and the other being his kicker. So 1 point from Antonio Gates after his breakout performance the week before. Dennis Pitta out for a while. Torrey Smith 4 points. Stephen Ridley only 6 points. Not a good week for Doug. So Stone Cold Lead Pipe lock of the week came to fruition. Big win for the Rampage. Who haven't I done yet? Jaquiz My Pants versus Pulsating Iron. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for proving the doubters wrong, for winning your first real piece of competition. Brian helped you out by sucking this week. Keenan Allen, Randall Cobb combining for 8 points. Huge game from Pierre Garçon. Followed up his stinker in week 2 with 30 points, 138 yards, 11 receptions, and a touchdown. Kirk Cousins getting it done there. They didn't get the win. So that was a really fun game to watch. Yeah, no other really huge games from this matchup or real stinkers. Kyle Rudolph is out for Jaquiz for a while. Gonna have to rely on Donald. I don't know when Reed comes back. Maybe that's soon. but it was actually a Jaquiz My Pants big over the nuts. And I thank you, because Brian's in my division. Another segue. We'll go to the last division matchup for a while in our Randy Moss division, and I was big over Bear Down. Huge game from Andrew Luck. In the other league, I even sat Peyton Manning and played Luck. Now, maybe that's not such a huge call, but it worked out for me. Tops among quarterbacks for sure. Emmanuel Sanders and Crabtree combining for 49 points. What I thought was going to be my weak spot of the year, wide receivers, is actually coming through pretty good for me. But I had good showings from my running backs again this week. Oh, and Terrence Williams with a touchdown, Bolden with 9 points. I did have 29 points between Forte and Lamar Miller. I wasn't planning on starting Lamar Miller, but between injuries and my trades, kind of forced into that. Over on Mike's side of things, another big game from Le'Veon Bell, Alshon and Niall Davis. So not only did me not having Charles hurt me, but it helped Mike because he got to play Davis. Didn't help him enough, though. Russell Wilson in for RG3. Had a decent game as well. But this is actually the second time in 3 weeks that the Hurricanes have had the top score of the week. And in week 2, I played against the team that had the top score. So I'm actually quite a bit better off at this point than what I expected to be. And then finally, the matchup of the week. At least I think I covered the rest of them. The match of the week. Kind of a stinker. The Fear Boners went down hard to fist pumping like champs. Durs is 3-0 right now. Currently sits atop my power rankings. That might change this week because he is on buys and got to readjust everything as well. But currently he's up there. Huge games from Foles, Julio Jones, and Jeremy Maclin. 26 at least for all of those. And Fear Boners falls to 1 and 2. He's got a long climb back up to win the division. Still has a decent shot at the playoffs because he does have a pretty good team yet. But I don't know if I've ever seen this in the entire history of the league. Shane Graham, a kicker, with -2 points because he missed an extra point, and then they didn't put him in for any of their field goal tries. They didn't have any field goal tries. They didn't put him back in for the other extra points. So -2 points from a kicker. I think that's pretty spectacular. I did post the power rankings, the pseudo power rankings for now. If you haven't already done so, make sure that you vote on the amendment. It's been up for 12 days now. Let's get that thing done. Probably look at one more amendment proposal for right now, and then hopefully chill on those for a little bit. If you didn't see, Mike is our new vice commish by complete sheer random luck. So this is only half the time that it usually took me. Hopefully this keeps more of you awake. I will be back later in the week with my previews. Maybe we'll do a broadcast. I don't know. Anyone that's playing basketball with us tomorrow night, if you want to join me afterwards, let me know. Peace.